Hey y'all, just making a Earth tank video, show how I spec my battle tank and regular tank. First, I have my battle tank, just going over the arts. Like I had recorded this multiple times and it keeps cutting off the beginning, so I use all tank gear, and then right now I'm just showing the artifacts I use. So for battle tank I do a supercharge build, and I just use 3 artifacts that each have different supercharge properties. So the first one's Quizlet. It at 200, Um, every time it uses Mega Blast, it'll give you Supercharge, and then I use EOG, which a lot of tanks run. Gives Supercharge to the group and yourself, and increases Dominance and Restoration, and then Scrap of the Soul Cloak, just so I can have more total Supercharge, build Supercharge a bit faster, and anytime I use a Supercharge ability, I get some back. So that's the arts I use, and then if you see the utility belt, it's supply drop, uh, DPS pet, trinket, and orbital, and then I'll switch in the henchman, showing the allies. For combat, you could use whatever combat one you like. I know a lot of people use the robot. I found that sometimes he misses and he hits an ad instead of the boss, so that's why I use Batman. And then Nubia, just for damage, and then Aquaman for pets because I have Brick and Quizlet out. I'm just showing the spec, so you don't have to get all for the weapons. I like to because I still use combos. Just showing for movement mode. I get the innates and then perfect poise, and then I get pheromone bloom just for another quick supercharge. Some people use Neo Venom, Word of Power. You can use that if you like. I personally don't. Then I'm showing how I use stat points. Some people go super powered when they do battle tank or even just a regular tank. I don't run out of power too much, and if I do, I use weapon combos, so I just go hybrid. I find that helps with my survivability. If you feel like you're running out of power, you can go super powered. It's all good. And then if you're doing battle tank, make sure you get the crit chance, crit damage, and then might and power. And then I go 100 health and then 194 into dominance, so just the rest into dominance. I used to put some in precision. Oh, excuse me. I don't anymore. So if you have less skill points than that, I would say get hybrid, then the 2 crit chance, crit damage, then try to get 100 might, try to get 100 dom, and then 100 health, and then pump the rest into might, and then after that you can put the rest into dominance. That's what I would recommend. You don't have to go that way. That's just the way I do it. And then to go into my actual loadout, I always recommend when you're doing battle tank to use brick. You take aftershocks is better if you have multiple shields, like at least 3. Otherwise, without a shield, you're going to take less damage with brick out. So that's why I run with brick, and also because he does damage as well. So that's why I run brick. I don't run fortified golem though, just because I am running EOG and 2 supercharges. So the EOG is going to heal brick pretty much all the time. So I find that he doesn't die unless it's AoE stuff or dumb stuff. So that's why I don't run fortified, just the 2 supercharges. You want at least 1 pull. Some people run 2. I don't feel it's necessary. I'll just swap them in and out. Epicenter or Earth and Grip. Normally I run Epicenter. And if you were to run 2 pulls, you need to or whatever, that's how you would do it. Perfect Poise, just a really good supercharge to use. Shields you, puts you in movement mode. Does a little bit of damage. Unstoppable, that's just a supercharge generator and to clip. So I can use it to clip the supercharges. If Brick does die, I can clip it with that. Jackhammer is the main damage ability and crowd control ability you have as a tank, or as an earth tank anyways. So that's why I use that. And then Pheromone Bloom is just the other supercharge. So if I'm running 2 2500s, Perfect Poison, Pheromone Bloom, I pretty much have max supercharge the whole time. And if I was to not want to run, normally I run that when it's just any content, but especially against ads as well. But if I was to go against bosses, then I would try to throw it in Tome, just because it does significantly more damage than Pheromone Bloom. The only thing is, if you are running in Tome and Perfect Poise, You just have to manage your supercharge a little bit better if you were to run two 2500s, because you might run out if you don't run your rotation correctly. But this is kind of my normal setup. I also will throw on totem during, so this is what I use for some boss fights. Like for instance, in the One Who Waits Elite, this is kind of my normal setup, just because I know totem's not the greatest ability. You definitely don't want to be using it if you're clearing trash ads through a hallway, just because I think it's like a 30-second cooldown. It's a really long cooldown, so by the time you kill one set of ads, you go to the next, totem is still back there. So I would only use this on bosses, and only on bosses that aren't jumping around the map, that you can kind of keep them relatively stationary. Because totem does a bunch of different things. Heals brick, does some damage, does some crowd control. Nothing incredible, but it can be a useful ability on occasion. And I normally run the supercharge setup for my tank, but I'm showing another one that I've messed around with. It has lower survivability but good damage, which is a pet build. So it's essential with this build, since I'm not running EOG, I need something to heal brick, so I will run Fortified Golem, I'll run Source Shard. I got the pull, still got Jackhammer, and I need something to keep myself alive, so that's when I'll run Gemstone Shield. And this is the pet build, so it does have a little bit lower survivability, just because the EOG also helps keep me alive as well. But I'm just showing how you might run that. What I would recommend if you do run a pet build with brick, to not aftershock gemstone all the way. The way shields work is the higher your defense is, the stronger the shield will be. So since you don't get as big of a defense boost when you're running with brick than you would aftershocks, to make gemstone last longer, I would say just don't aftershock it all the way. So just showing just kind of like a sample rotation if you were to run the pet build, which, like I said, does good damage, just slightly lower survivability. And as far as like the white mods with battle tank, you can kind of use what you'd like. I would recommend obviously max damage in hands. For your chest, you could use penetrating strikes or fortified assault depending on the content. And then your head, probably something for the supercharge. Legs, doesn't matter. Feet, doesn't matter either. You could use Tumbling Master. And then I'm just showing my regular tank setup. So slightly different setup with the utility belt, where I still have supply drop and orbital, but I also run personal dampening field. Some people like to use the quantum item that stuns ads. I don't. I just run another shield, and then I think every tank should have the breakout trinket. Just showing my artifacts. So manacle, it's kind of a standard setup. So it's manacles, mystic, which pretty much everyone should run. Another thing to keep in mind with mystic is it heals you when you get hit, so you don't have to take damage. So say if you're at 50% health, you pop a shield. Every time you get hit with the shield on, you're getting health back. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. I don't like to think of Earth as a self-healing tank, but that's one way to go about. That's where most of your heals are going to come from. Self-healing anyways, is through Mystic Symbol. Like, if you want a self-healing tank, be Fire, be Rage, Atomic. And then Eye of the Gemini, I'm just showing some of my stats for my regular tank. And then just showing the defense boost when I use Aftershock. So you see the defense jumped up quite a bit, which is what makes the shield stronger. And then I didn't mention with the battle tank, but for the augments, I go Dominance in the head and then Might, Origin augments. And I am just showing the way I set up the allies. Like, I had recorded this and I'm just doing voiceover, so I don't remember exactly the order I do everything. So just go in the allies. Nubia, she can do a little CC on ads and heals you a bit. Batman, very straightforward. He just gives you defense. And then Queen Diana, anytime you pull an enemy, their damage goes down. So that's just the setup I have. And then again, brawling, you could just do one into the weapon. I like the whole combos because I like to do combos. I get the innate and then perfect poise, and then I get 2 shields. Hardlight shield stays on pretty much all the time, and then Amazonian deflection is more situational if I feel I need 4 shields for certain content. And Amazonian, I'll go into Amazonian deflection in a second. But again, you can do superpowered if you want. I recommend hybrid, especially for regular tank. Just makes your shield stronger, helps survivability. For this, you can go, I just go 20 critical heal chance just so I can get to the next trees where I max out Dom, get 100 in health, and then all the rest into Resto to make my shield stronger. And then also helps with Mystic Symbol. So if you have less skill points, I would recommend trying to get 100 in each of them, Resto, health, Dom. Then you max Dom, then you put the rest into Resto. So just to show the loadout, almost always run with 3 shields, Gemstone, Hardlight, and Perfect Poise. Gemstone, unlike with Brick, I recommend always aftershocking it all the way to make it as strong as possible. Just because, like I said, aftershocks works a lot better with shields, so you want a bit stronger shields that way. And then I run Soothing Sands normally, just it's a group breakout. There's certain content where, you know, the group might be getting crowd controlled by the boss, enemies, whatever, that can come in handy. But that's also the slot, the L2 circle, where I will switch it up. And that's where I'll put Amazonian deflection if I need it. And I'm just showing here, just something to keep in mind if you do run Amazonian deflection. If you saw Hardlight Shield, as soon as I popped it, the cooldown started. But with Amazonian deflection, the cooldown doesn't start until the shield is broken or until the animation finishes of you blocking. So just keep that in mind. And like I had mentioned with the battle tank, I normally don't run 2 pulls, but if I was to run 2 pulls, this is how I would do it. And then Jackhammer, that's just how you get your stone skin. You can run Upheaval. I find Jackhammer's a better crowd control ability. It's more useful in certain in pretty much all situations really. But some people can run Upheaval, it's all good. And then if you ever need to have a single target taunt, get Pebble Blast, and that's where I would put Pebble Blast, in the L2 circle spot. So that's how I spec tank, Earth tank, battle tank, and regular tank. So if y'all have any questions, just let me know. Thanks, y'all.